Ooh, la 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 loo, 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 loo.
Hi, Brandon with Spaghetti and Meeples. It has been about 3 months since I've done a proper video. Since then, I have done YouTube versions of our podcast. For those of you who may not like SoundCloud, it's really all I had time or energy for. I was finishing up student teaching. I had a cough for 6 months. Then our kids were sick, and so I didn't do much or any actually recording over winter break, and I completely thought that I would. Finney and I had planned a Christmas special, and it just didn't work out because we were both sick. Then we all got better and we were snowed in. Kids went back to school for one day after winter break, and then they didn't go back until the recording of this video right here. And what we did, what was great about that, was that it gave us a chance to play a lot more games because we hadn't been playing very many because I'd been so busy. And I'm not going to talk necessarily about the games that we played, although what was really great is that we were able to play all of the unplayed games in our house, completely caught up, and then another game showed up yesterday. So now we only have one though, so that's good. But what I want to talk to you about is the inserts, because we were playing some games and I started really noticing the inserts. And I know there's a lot of conflict discussion about inserts. Many of them are really just for shipping. They're not meant to store anything in it. It's just so that the pieces can ship safely, and then you open it and whatever happens, happens. Other games do put inserts with thought about where pieces should go and ease of removal for when you're playing. And so that's what I want to sort of talk about today. That's exactly what I want to talk about today. The first one I want to look at is the biggest one, and this is Leviathans. So Leviathans is sort of a steampunky airship game. These are steel ships that have special technology that allow them to fly, and you can do skirmishes. You can also sort of do a bigger campaign if you decide to. One of the things that I really love about this, aside from the detail on the miniatures in it, is the lore and the background. There are 2 mini novels in with this. There are 2 books. There's an enormous amount of information on the website monstersinthesky.com, and the world that's been built around Leviathans, I should say, is really great. But the inserts are also really good. What you'll see is that the ships have a vacuum packed or properly molded areas for them to sit in, which they need because they are really nice and you want to take care of them. But it also has compartments for different identity cards for the ships. It also has another compartment for the dice and other things that you need. And I really like the layout of this. You can see that the board is folded up, and they could have done a much smaller version of this box, but it would have, not been as nice as far as putting everything in there. And I really do like the setup of this. So that's the first one that I wanted to look at. The next one is actually the one that got me thinking about inserts and doing this whole video. And this is The Siblings Trouble. This is from Pencil First Games. And I did do a Kickstarter review of this with a prototype. And I did fund this, and this is my copy that I received. And the finished copy is pretty impressive. And also I do want to state that this is a really great game to play. We played this over winter break with our whole family, and everybody absolutely loved it. It's a great storytelling game, and we might do a more in-depth look at it in the future. But what I want to talk about is the insert for this. You can see, if you look in here, you have the 2 card compartments. You also have the compartments for the token, or the compartment for the token, and a compartment for the dice. Everything has a place in here. This is designed for someone who plays games, or by someone who plays games, for people who play games. Because if you look here, there is a finger insert where you can reach in and pull the cards out and get all of them out no problem. I really appreciate that. Even with the dice, there are areas on either side, and the same with the tokens. There's an area for you to reach in. That was the one that really got me thinking about this. So, The Siblings Trouble, Pencil First Games. And I forgot to mention that Leviathans is from Catalyst. All right, so the next one I want to look at is Splendor. Now this one, I know there's been a lot of discussion on the worldwide interwebs of super information superhighways about how this box is way bigger than it needs to be, and I'm not going to necessarily disagree with that. What I will say is that I love the size of this box because I love the layout of everything inside it. If you look at it, everything, again, has a place. It's all easy to pull out when you want to get started and play, and it's very easy to put away. All of the tokens have their own compartments. The cards have their own compartments that are sized, so you know that the larger deck goes in this section and so on and so forth. And I really absolutely love the layout of this. I don't want a smaller box for Splendor. I want exactly this size of a box. And this comes from Space Cowboys. Let me say that again. This comes from Space Cowboys. Splendor, and it's a great game. We played a ton of this over the break. And again, just really, I like the layout of that. I know some of you think it's too big. I think it's perfect. All right, the next one that I want to look at, and this is a game that I have talked about. I did a video on it for Eduardo. This is Survive, Escape from Atlantis. This is one of our favorite games in our house. There's a lot that you can just really get excited about, trying to save your people, trying to hurt other people. If you're not familiar with it, you're on an island and you're trying to get off of it because it is sinking. It's Atlantis, you're all there exploring, and it starts to sink. And we also have an interview on the site with Julian Cortland Smith, who was the designer, and this one comes from Stronghold Games, sorry. But I want you to take a look at the inside. Great use of compartments, and you'll notice I have the expansions that are in here, and I highly recommend the expansions because it adds a lot of play. You don't need them, but it's a lot of fun. For instance, there are the squids, and they can pull people off of land if they're in a space next to them. But I really like the layout. I like the use of space. When we got this, we didn't have the expansions, and then we got the expansions, and you can see they fit in there just fine. So that is Survive, Escape from Atlantis. The last one that I want to take a look at is this, also from Pencil First Games. This is Heroes and Tricks, and I did back this Kickstarter as well. And the reason I want to talk about it is because this is a card game in a small box that has a lot of love. Again, you can tell that this was designed by people who play games. First off, it's just a nice, simple, gorgeous box. It has a magnet flap there, but then if you look inside, it actually has compartments for different parts. And the thing that I really love is this part on the front here. You can reach in and pull the instructions out quite easy. So this is a small box and a small game with a ton of thought put into how you're going to use it. That's it. I recommend all of these games, I have to say. Leviathans, Splendor, The Siblings Trouble, Survive, Escape from Atlantis, and Heroes and Tricks. And part of it is the way that they're packaged, but of course most of it is how they play. That's all I have for now. Looking forward to the future, we will finally have our review of Verdun 1916 up. We will also have a review of Looney Labs Mad Libs. Finney makes his return to that video. He's helped sort of come up with the concept for it. And that's all I have for right now. Thank you for hanging in there, if you have been hanging in there. And if you haven't, surprise! I'm back. We'll see you later. Bye.
This program is part of the Pathological Nerdcasters Network. Find more at pncn.online, where all the geeks come to play.